Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Here, we would like to explain about the concept of regionalism in international relations, and we are taking European Union as a case study to explain what regionalism is. There are 5 points that we are going to explain about, and we will conclude it in the last part. The first point that we are going to explain about is about regionalism, the definition of regionalism. The second is about the historical background of European Union. The third is about European Union as a regional organization which has supranational power to enforce the members of its state. And
And European Union is only regional organization that have a policy to accept refugee from another country. And the last is Brexit. About Brexit, that British exit European Union because of some factor.
here I would like to explain about the concept of regionalism in international relations. Actually, there are a lot of scholars that interpret and give their own definition regarding to regionalism concept. Here, we are taking two scholars that give their point of view and also their definition to understand about the concept of regionalism. Those are Edward and Milner. Based on their point of view that to understand and also to know about regionalism concept, regionalism itself is divided in two categories. The first is geographical and the second is non-geographical. What does it mean by that? The first is geographical. So the relation among countries that based on their land, they are one land and they are in one continent. It is geographical mean. And the second is about non-geographical. It is based on the culture and also the historical background that they have in same condition and also same interest. That is about regionalism. The second point is about the historical background of European Union. As we know that after World War II, there were a lot of crises in the world, especially in Europe. Because of that crisis in Europe, made the countries in Europe, especially six countries, that think to create some organization to repair and also fix that crisis. That organization was begun by the Treaty of Paris. The Treaty of Paris was signed in 18th of April 1951 and took force in 25th of July 1952. The country that involved inside this treaty called as the Inner Six. Those are Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, Luxembourg, Germany, and France. This organization was focusing in the natural resources in Europe, especially coal and steel. Because of that, six countries would like to transform this organization to the biggest focusing, such as economic. It is begun by the Treaty of Rome. The Treaty of Rome was signed in the 2nd of June 1955 and took force in 25th of March 1957. This treaty transformed European coal and steel community to two organizations which call as Euratom and European Economic Community. Euratom, which focus on the natural resources in Europe, and the second is about economy, European Economic Community, which focus on the economic activity in Europe at the time. And the most important treaty that we have to understand deeply to understand the behavior of European Union is the Treaty of Maastricht, or called as the Treaty of European Union. This treaty was signed in 7th of February 1992 and took force in the 1st of November 1993. This treaty is using to collect all of the organizations that I mentioned before, such as European Coal and Steel Community, Euratom, European Economic Community in one big scope called as European Union. Inside the European Union, there are a lot of scope that they focus in, such as economy, natural resources, and political behavior in Europe as all of the countries inside that, that organization. That's all about the historical background of European Union. Now we are going to the next step, that is European Union as regional organization which has supranational power. The reason behind why European Union called as supranational organization is inside this organization they are four formal institutions and one bank central. The first institution inside this organization is the Parliament of European Union, which consists of the parties in European Union and be a representative of all of the people or citizens in European Union. So this function of this parliament is to propose a policy and also to help the Commission in produce a law. The second institution is the Council of European Union. The Council of European Union consists of the representative from its member state, such as the Prime Minister of the state or the head of government from its state, in order to talk and speak about their national interests, and the European Union will collect it in one document to be the reference in order to make their policy based on that document. The third institution is the Commission of European Union. This commission has a duty or has a function to propose a draft in order to make the law, but this draft should be presented in the Parliament and also Council in order to get the agreement, and that draft could be a legal document that using for the law in European Union. And the fourth is the Court of Justice of European Union. The function of Court of Justice is to punish and also to make a judicial review on the law that criticized by the scholar or criticized by the people in European. Because of that, this body is so supranational. It is taking care of the law that proposed or that implement in Europe itself. So there is a mechanism inside the Court of Justice which used to solve the problem in Europe itself. The last is the Bank Central of European Union. This Bank Central takes a responsibility to maintain the internal balance inside its member countries, such as economic growth, balance of price, and the stability inside this organization. The second is the external balance, such as macroeconomy, which means that taking care of the stability of economy acts as the external side. So that's all about the reason behind why European Union called as supranational regional organization in the world.
Okay, I'm going to explain about European Union as regional organization in international scope has a legal policy to accept refugees from another country. These are some points that I took to explain the European Union that has a legal policy to accept the refugee from another country. Okay, the first point is European Union has established the common European asylum system. This system is regulate the refugee distribution in European Union. Second point is about European Union member states have a shared responsibility to welcome the asylum seeker from another country. Okay, the third point is about Schengen Agreement. This agreement allows the people from European Union member state to freely move from one country to another country in European Union scope. This agreement bind all member states in European Union to give their people freely movement. And we move to the next topic that is about Brexit. EU has a degradation by the case of the Brexit. In here, I took some points that explain the EU has a degradation by the case of the Brexit. Okay, the first point that is British exit the EU and end their 47 years of membership from the European Union. This issue have impact some agreement in European Union and they need to revise some agreement that because of the Brexit, several issues that motivate British exit from the European Union. The first is European debt crisis that impact to the British. The second is about the refugee crisis, refugee policy in European Union that have an impact to the economy and the people of British. The third is about immigration. The people in British disagree about the Schengen Agreement. Because of the Schengen Agreement, people from the outside of Britain come to the Britain to looking for a new job. And because of this, the local people in Britain have no job left, have no job vacancy left for them. In conclusion, I want to conclude that regionalism is an ideology that highlights the local identity, the need for the independent regional planning and administrative freedom. European Union is the one of example supranational regional organization which has a strong legitimate to enforcement its member countries.